policing the police every single day, and doing what the Charlotte County Sun newspaper and local TV stations won't do every single day.
Hey, Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County Cop Watch. Andrew Sheets reported for Cop Watch for 8 years and now running for sheriff because I guess you got to change it from the inside. Now, isn't that weird? Just a couple days later, the sheriff is saying, oh, we really are going to get him. It's just we had to submit our budget right away. I believe he's still a motherfucking liar. He said this 4 years ago that we'll look into it and we'll study it. You don't need to study shit, you fucking criminal ass piece of shit. All agencies have had him for years. All you got to do is contact other ones. What's the best one? Blah, blah, blah. So this is another bullshit lie to get through the election. He's already said in the paper this year, if my cop needs a body camera, he shouldn't be here. Well, that's weird. All of a sudden, all the cops need him. By the way, you need car cameras too, you fucking asshole. And he is a criminal. He's still committing records law violations today. He violated the law on a gun charge. That's a third-degree felony. He's a fucking lying criminal. And that first minute was courtesy of TikTok, which is coming back. Anyways, yeah, he is a liar. He said he was going to do this 4 years ago. I got to study it. And you need car cameras too, ass fuck. This whole place is corrupt to the core. Why do you think people have been screaming for body cameras for years? It helps us. It helps you. It helps both sides. Oh, the cost is too much. Guess how much lawsuits cost, you stupid fucking asshole criminal? Jesus Christ. That absolutely offsets it right there. And then he actually said it here because we're transparent. Are you shitting me? Your records law violations that you are knowingly committing can be sued, every single one separately, and they are misdemeanor chargeable offenses. It's so bad now. Now you ask, and you can't even get a fucking record for free because he's claiming everything costs money. That's illegal. And like I said, he is a criminal. Illegal list of gun owners, third-degree felony. Why the fuck would I believe this bitch-ass criminal who is violating the case law in Florida that he's supposed to release his shooter executioner's names? He is illegally, excessive forcefully fucking blown the fucking head off of people in the street, in a neighborhood, 40 times with the 223 when they could have took him out earlier in the day, in the daylight, rubber bullets, and so many other things. God, I mean, the list just goes on and on. We're talking full-blown criminal mafia in agency. It's insane. The nepotism with his son-in-law. How many times his son got away with shit? He's under investigation right now with the ethics agency. Fuck, he recorded people in the jail. He killed people in the jail with the sex offense and not giving them the right drugs. He puts a lady outside the jail and says, she just died there. I don't know how it happened. Jesus, fuck, are you kidding me? You got cameras everywhere. You don't know how it happened. Just mafia fucking shit. This is worse than what Trump is dealing with up there in Washington. Jesus Christ, up there in Washington, FBI, CIA, NSA, all corrupt as fuck. If it's corrupt there, don't you think it might be corrupt here? And it is disgustingly corrupt. The walls are cracking. People are coming to us with tips. Why the fuck do you think we're posting this shit? This is a fucking criminal mafia agency. Period. You elect me, I will charge this motherfucker for his crimes and put him in jail and prison where he belongs. Period. Vote for SHEETS4SHERIFF.com if you want your freedom back, you want to stop the police state, stop policing for profit, and free the weed.
A crooked cop is caught in the act on his own body camera video. The key piece of evidence led to the conviction of a former MTSU police officer just this month.
Now, the case started with a missing AR-15, and as News Channel 5's Nick Barra shows us, it ended with an elaborate sting, all caught on camera.
Police body cams will often capture acts of criminal activity. Now, in this case, that's exactly what happened, but with a twist. The criminal turned out to be the officer, and yes, he was caught by video from his own body camera. This is former MTSU officer Marco Burke's body cam video as he approaches an abandoned vehicle on campus last year. What he doesn't know is that this is a sting to see what Burke would do when tempted.
What really is called an integrity test.
Chief Buddy Peaster suspected that Burke had stolen an AR-15 from an MTSU police locker, but he couldn't prove it. So Murfreesboro police set a bait car on campus along with some hidden cameras. Officer Burke was sent alone to investigate the abandoned vehicle. Watch as he zeroes in on a bottle of pills, which he pockets. Then Burke also grabs $1,100 cash and another bottle of pills. Moments later, he reports nothing unusual to dispatch.
Just the vehicle is unoccupied. That's it.
And here, back in his squad car, you can hear Burke shuffling papers, possibly counting the money he's just taken.
The key was he going to report these items as being part of the inventory of things taken from that car?
Burke did not, and he was arrested. He then made this call to his wife from the Rutherford County Jail.
I got caught up in something, and I got in trouble. I know what I did. They did his thing, and I got caught. I'm so embarrassed.
The hidden cameras set by police for the sting showed Burke at the car from a distance, but it's his body cam video that did the real damage at trial. Why would he leave the camera on?
I think it was a habit, out of training, that he just, out of habit, turned it on and just wasn't thinking about it.
Before trial, prosecutors pressed Burke about what happened to the AR-15. He denied ever taking the gun and was never charged. The weapon has not been recovered.
Those kinds of things.
But Chief Peaster says the sting still worked, exposing an officer who had gone bad.
Now you've become the type of person that you're trying to help defend your community against.
Burke ended up pleading guilty to 3 felonies, and at trial he was convicted of tampering with evidence. When sentenced, he faces between 3 and 15 years in prison. Nick Barris, News Channel 5.
All new at 5 now, we're hearing from a Tampa woman about her encounter with police. The encounter was captured on camera with 2 different perspectives. Officers pulled her over because they say she was driving a car that was reported stolen. But as ABC Action News reporter Eric Waxler tells us, it's what happened next that has her very upset.
Y'all, I got pulled over and this cop is literally pointing a gun at me. He still didn't put his gun down.
Johnisa Wilkerson posted a video of her encounter with Tampa police on Instagram.
Sir, can you at least put your gun down?
Police pulled her over last week after they say the car she was driving came up as stolen.
I ran the tag. It says it's stolen. Okay, just don't move.
The officer was alone and had his gun pointed in Wilkerson's direction but angled down.
I felt once they figured out I was compliant that the gun should have been placed away.
Police say the officer did what he was supposed to do, and they take extra precautions because stolen cars are often used in other crimes.
The officer put his gun on what we call a low ready, where it's not pointed directly at the person, but it's already out and can be easily raised if they have to defend themselves.
Tampa police say Wilkerson's Instagram post misrepresented what happened. They say the officer never pointed his gun at her head and did not smash her into her car. But since TPD released their body camera video of the encounter, she says she's been harassed and threatened.
When they blasted my information out, I felt like they were not even concerned about my personal well-being. I felt completely harassed by Tampa Police Department.
Police say the car was a rental that was reported stolen. Investigators in Pinellas County are still looking into that. Wilkerson wasn't charged with any crime. She says she borrowed the car from a woman she's known since high school. In Tampa, Eric Waxler, ABC Action News.
Major reform for the LAPD, where every single officer is now outfitted with a body cam. But will it keep cops in check? ABC's Matt Gutman is with them on the ground.
The LAPD giving chase, careening around a corner. We're with them.
Put your hands up. Turn your back towards me. There you go. Go ahead and get on your knees. Your hands on top of your head. Go ahead and lay down on your stomach.
4 officers, Paris Archundia and Matt Splenka. Nights like this are routine.
Get in the car, get in the car, get in the car.
But the images you're seeing are not.
Oh, you had a gun?
Thought you had a gun? Over the past month, the LAPD, which earned infamy with the Rodney King video, becoming by far the largest police department in the nation to deploy body cameras on all its patrol officers, 7,000 of them.
So do you think this will change the LAPD in any discernible way?
I think it'll change all law enforcement. First of all, you know, the LAPD is the biggest agency that's doing this, but it won't be long before all cops will do this. You know, this is going to become a common piece of equipment for law enforcement, and really the question will be not if you have them, is why don't you have them?
Over the past few years, body cameras have become a hot-button issue nationwide, thanks in part to videos like these. This reserve deputy allegedly mistaking his gun for his taser in Oklahoma City with fatal results. The reserve deputy is now facing second-degree manslaughter charges. He says it was all a terrible accident. But perhaps the most publicized example, an officer for the University of Cincinnati shooting to death Samuel DuBose during a traffic stop. The video revealing what the prosecutor called
the most asinine act I've ever seen a police officer make.
Officer Ray Tensing told other officers right after the incident he needed to protect himself.
I thought he was going to run me over. He was dragging me. Yeah, he took off on me. My hand was caught inside. I missed his tires, luckily, but I was just getting dragged by him.
Tires? The video seems to show a different story. Investigators concluded he was never dragged and never in danger. Tensing was fired from the department and charged with murder. Despite these examples, advocates say the cameras have probably absolved more cops than they have condemned.
I think it shows that we believe in what we do enough to put it on film.
And this allows that to happen.
This is a camera. You can tell by this blinking light that the camera's on.
Which is why the LAPD is giving us an exclusive look at their new gear, the taser-made Axon. The #1 seller of body cameras, Taser has seen sales surge more than 154% in just a year. More than 53,000 of these cameras are being buckled into police utility belts across the country. Still, that's less than one Axon camera per 10 cops in the U.S. We spent 2 days and nights with the LAPD doing as they do.
All units code 4.
Filming every interaction with the public.
You guys work here? Right there.
Around midnight, Archundia spots something in the inky darkness. He guns the engine in pursuit of a suspected local gang member.
So you got a gun? Yeah.
There's a scramble in the alleyways to find him. Until now, their dash cams would have only captured the car chase. Those new cameras now capturing the foot pursuit, the stop, and the frisk. Close quarters contact that is so often the source of complaints about excessive force. This young man knows what's coming. Earlier this year, the officers say he was charged with grand theft auto and the possession of a firearm. He doesn't pay us much attention.
What does the tattoo in the back of your neck say? Darlene. Darlene?
While he's cuffed, Archundia searches around to see if a gun was ditched.
Should be right here.
Archundia and Spolenka, both of whom have significant others waiting for them at home, do the toughest shifts in one of the nation's toughest beats. The Mission Division, a.k.a. Gangland LA, and Skid Row.
Right there, right there.
Made famous by the movie End of Watch.
Ready? Go, split.
Like those cops, a decade of experience has honed an almost feral instinct about criminal activity and protecting themselves. They wear the cameras on their hips, near their guns.
My personal preference for being on the belt, I want the video to catch suspects' hands. And not only that, but if we get into that situation where we are in a shooting, I don't want my hands blocking the suspect.
So the camera would be here and your hands would be blocking
so
it.
how you're wearing it, your hands would be blocking the suspect.
Another tool, is it something that's helpful for you?
It's only been a week for us down here, so it's too early to tell.
The video captures very little, mostly blackness as we race on a code 3.
Yeah.
To what they know will be a prank call. And it jangles as we clamber up to a flop house, knowing the officers will soon turn back around.
You want to get on your knees?
They worry that with police officers feeling under increased threat, when the real thing happens and their life is on the line, that the camera will be a potentially dangerous or deadly distraction.
What if there's a shooting, an active shooter right in front of me, and I'm thinking about this instead of my gun? That's the only issue I have right now with this.
Another concern, it might not always give a complete picture.
And in some ways, that makes this product also very incomplete.
Yeah.
It gives you only that one snippet of time.
It's one piece of the puzzle. It's a big piece, and in some cases, it's going to be a huge piece. In other cases, it's going to be a smaller piece. It totally depends on when it's activated, you know, what the angle is, where the individual is standing.
The LAPD believes the cameras could protect its officers in the field and in court. And a couple of days before we interviewed Chief Beck, we embedded with another unit that shot a man believed to be armed.
Are you going to let the public see that? Will we be able to see that?
If presented in court, it becomes part of the public domain.
That means the public and the media will have to wait. It's end of watch. Archundia and Spolenka dock their cameras. Grateful, a relatively uneventful night means they won't have any video to review. For Nightline, I'm Matt Gutman in Los Angeles.
The future of modern policing, body cameras can act as an independent witness to police interactions with the public.
Earlier this year, the New Orleans Police Department rolled out more than 400 cameras for their officers on patrol. But how do they work, and what does the video look like?
For the first time, we're getting a look at NOPD body camera footage used on the job. WDSU reporter Gina Swanson goes in depth with NOPD top brass about the camera program and how it's changing the way they do their job.
To me, son. Crawl to me on your belly. Crawl to me. Crawl to me.
This is not an action movie. It is an actual NOPD call for service.
Come out, I'm listening to the dog.
Moments after an armed robbery and carjacking, this police canine chase and apprehension was all caught on camera. It is another tool for the police department. While officers are walking the beat, there is another pair of eyes on the streets.
We're getting fewer allegations.
Police Superintendent Michael Harrison says the cameras were necessary for one reason.
How do we get NOPD to build trust with the community?
Public confidence that has eroded after several high-profile scandals and cases of police misconduct, with citizens often believing their complaints about police were falling on deaf ears.
We want to take away the he said, she said. We want to take that away from the complaints.
Now, instead of a citizen's word against an officer's, there is a witness of sorts already on the scene capturing all the police interactions with the public. And this is a first look at body camera video and how it works.
When allegations are made, we actually know who did what and who did what when.
NOPD top brass says adding the body cameras is the future of modern policing, but incorporating it into daily use has not come without challenges. Back in August, a controversial officer-involved shooting was not recorded. The suspect was shot in the head. Police didn't confirm the incident to the public until days later.
It fell through the cracks.
And still, there is no video to determine if the shooting was a justified use of force.
Well, the whole idea is to make sure that they're recording the interactions, especially with the public, when it comes to things like misconduct or use of force.
This was something new, and with any new technology, it takes a while to condition people and condition ourselves to get used to using it and using it properly.
For veteran officers, it's something to get used to, how to incorporate the cameras into their daily workflow. For new cops, they'll never know life on the force without it.
Displaced.
Here in the 6th District, this officer gets ready for his patrol shift by grabbing one of the cameras and attaching it to the mount located on his chest.
Here's how the body cameras work. Officers are required to turn it on anytime they interact with the public, and the camera serves as an independent witness to whatever happens.
The footage is uploaded at the end of each shift and saved to a secure cloud for storage.
Police part with a K9. If you're in the act, you need to find a police officer and surrender yourself, or we'll come find you with the dog, and you could get bit.
Back to this call for service. The video shows the chain of events from the time the officers arrive on the scene until they find and apprehend a suspect under this home. The chief says the cameras are already making a difference.
It modifies the officer's behavior, it modifies citizen behavior. So the officers are careful about the questions they ask and the statements they make, and the citizens are actually, their behavior is actually modified as well, because when they know they're recorded, we're seeing less aggression on the part of the citizens.
What happens when an officer doesn't turn on the camera?
When they should record, and we find that they don't, there's a level of training and discipline. We use that actually both of those, if we have to ensure compliance.
Compliance, the chief says, was voluntary, not part of the ongoing consent decree. Chief Harrison says the program was one of the largest deployments of body cameras in the country.
In May, we rolled out 448 cameras, probably the largest in the country at that time.
The department has plans to order 100 additional cameras. While the officers are trained to record every interaction with the public, there are some exceptions. The cameras should not be rolling in the case of sexual assault or to protect juvenile victims of crime and sensitive witnesses. The cameras also have to be turned off in hospitals or when officers are entering the jail.
We implemented the body camera policy and bought the body cameras for our officers to wear so that we can be transparent.
So when it comes to officers accused of wrongdoing,
more often than not, the cameras are on.
The head of the Public Integrity Bureau says the video is one of the first things they look for in internal investigations.
Cases that before where it would be the officer's word against the citizen's word, and I didn't have any evidence to substantiate one way or the other. Now I have all the evidence I need to either clear the officer or to sustain the officer. We analyze everything for any type of manipulation, and what we found that in these particular instances, there's no possibility of manipulation with these particular videos.
Chief Arlinda Westbrook says the complaints against officers are being resolved at a quicker pace, and video has shown both officers who follow procedure and those who violate it.
Happened to see one recently where the video actually showed that the officer actually violated a policy. And it was a minor violation, nevertheless a violation.
While there are no clear numbers, the videos are starting to be requested more for matters in criminal court. Admittedly, the New Orleans Police Department has work to do when it comes to winning over public confidence. Training, implementation, and proper use of the cameras is a process that's still ongoing, but citizens should be advised when they call police, the cameras are rolling. On your side, Gina Swanson, WDSU News.
And just last month, Inspector General Ed Quatrevo praised the NOPD's body camera program, calling it, quote, the greatest leveraged investment possible in police community relations. Still, many are skeptical of the program. The concern is officers may be penalized for minor violations of policy that could have been just an honest mistake.
It will allow us to make the streets safer. It will also allow us to reinvigorate our commitment to transparency.
There is a lot of talk of transparency today as the first Cincinnati cops hit the streets wearing body cameras. The cameras are very visible on the front of the shirts of the police officers now wearing them. They're the cops who patrol the business district.
A lot of research went into the city's body camera policy. When do cops turn it on? Where to store the video? How long does it stay? Local 12's Deborah Dixon shows us what the cameras mean to you.
This is what happens at a roll call before cops hit the streets. Equipment is checked. Now the sergeant will check to see if the little green light is on the newest piece of equipment, body cameras. Police officers will turn the cameras on whenever they make runs. It's attached to a magnet on their chests.
If for some reason we get in a struggle or what have you, and they grab it and they're able to pull it, it's strong enough it'll stay on for a little bit, but if they actually do rip it off and they take it, then we don't have any issues with it.
But you also have video.
Well, the video of him taking it, absolutely.
Yeah. Mayor John Cranley said the people of Cincinnati have a right to know what the government is doing.
That's the basic concept around cameras, which is transparency. This is your government at work, and we're not afraid because we are proud of our officers, and we know that they will act professionally.
We're doing this to be the type of police department that they desire us to be, and this is another step, in that regard.
Do you have a license on you?
Body cam video is the main evidence in the murder trial of former UC police officer Ray Tenzing. It shows him shooting Sam DuBose in the head during an off-campus traffic stop. But body cams also show incidents of bravery, such as this Glendale cop's confrontation with a knife-wielding man on I-75.
Sir, get down!
Cincinnati police officers I talked to like having the cameras.
These cameras are only going to help us do things better. I mean, that's the only thing I can say is they're going to help us do a lot of things better.
There are instances where having this would just back up our story and say, no, that's not what happened.
Other cities with body cams show both police and citizens act differently when a camera is rolling.
Fewer citizen complaints. Maybe it makes an officer or two wise up about how they talk to somebody. And so we've seen from talking to other departments that have deployed this that it's been a benefit on both sides of the fence.
At the end of the day, police officers put their body cameras in this docking station. The cameras are charged, the video is uploaded to the cloud and kept for 90 days. By the end of the year, there will be 700 of these in police stations all over the city. Deborah Dixon, Local 12 News.
And the city is paying about $6 million over 7 years for the body cams. Officers don't need to tell people they're being recorded.
Now, the Department of Justice just announced it's launching a $20 million program to buy body cameras for police officers. The Attorney General, Loretta Lynch, calls it a vital part of giving law enforcement what they need to tackle the 21st century challenges they face. Many police also say the body cameras will tell the full story during an encounter with the suspect, because cell phone videos taken by bystanders often show only snippets that can be taken out of context. Now, cameras have already made a huge impact on policing. I want you to take a look. We do want to warn you, some of the images you'll see are graphic. An officer in Arizona intentionally runs over a suspect holding a rifle. A North Charleston police officer shoots and kills an unarmed man in the back as he runs away.
Do you understand me? Yes, I don't know what planet you think you're on right now.
A New York City detective on a furious tirade against an Uber driver for honking at him.
I don't know where you're coming from or where you think you're appropriate in doing that. It's not the way it works. How long have you been in this country?
All these incidents caught on cell phones, dash cams, body cams. In Tulsa, Oklahoma, a reserve deputy shoots a suspect during an undercover sting operation.
Roll on your stomach.
Later saying he mistakenly pulled out his gun instead of his taser. The deputy was charged with second-degree manslaughter. Whether this video helps him or hurts him remains to be seen.
Get your hands up! Get your hands up! Get your hands up right now!
But often, videotape allows people to see the danger police officers face on a daily basis.
Stop! Stop right there! I don't want to shoot you, man!
This body cam shows an officer in New Richmond, Ohio, backing away from a suspect who suddenly charges. The officer refuses to shoot,
Dude, I'll shoot you! Back up!
even tumbling backwards at one point before the suspect surrenders. These videos have worked both for and against officers, even when the incident itself is not captured on camera. In the deaths of Freddie Gray in Baltimore and Michael Brown in Ferguson, only the aftermath was recorded. It was enough to lead to charges for the Baltimore officers, but not in Ferguson. Oh, there's a lot to talk about on this subject. I want to bring back in Eric Adams, Brooklyn Borough President and former NYPD captain. Back with us also, CNN legal analyst Sonny Hostin. Again, Sonny's a former federal prosecutor who used to live in Baltimore and is friends with the current mayor. Also with us, legal analyst Mark Garrett, a criminal defense attorney, and Anthony Scott, the brother of Walter Scott, who was shot in the back by a North Charleston police officer. Mr. Scott, do you have any doubt that had your brother's death not been recorded in the way it was, that things would have moved so quickly? Because we know the officer, in his initial report, gave a very different account than what we've all seen in the video.
I definitely believe it would not have moved as fast as it did. And I think the body cameras is the most important thing that they need to do right now, because it actually showed the whole entire thing. But it will help the people to see it's good for the victims as well as the officers, because it'll bring more accountability on both sides. Therefore, they won't act so hastily when they take action against individuals.
Sonny, there's some police who obviously oppose body cameras, but other police officers say, you know what, it's actually going to show you how tough my job is. You're a supporter of body cameras.
Absolutely. I mean, and I agree. I think it also supports the police officers, because it will show how difficult the job is, and it will show that transparency in terms of decisions that these officers have to make day in and day out. Bottom line, it's the best thing to do.
Mark Garagos, is it the right
It is,
right
but
direction?
it's a Band-Aid. It really is. The only reason that any of these cases get any attention is because there's a camera there, and it wasn't necessarily a body camera. Somebody sees it, because otherwise they don't believe that it can happen. These police reports are always the same. They always read the same. He reached for the waist. I thought I was in danger. That's why I shot. It's a standard litany. It's almost a script that they read from.
I want to bring in Emerald Gardner, who we're very happy is joining us today. She is the daughter of Eric Gardner, who of course was killed after interaction with police. Much of the country, much of the world has now seen that video. In the case of your dad, the video didn't make a difference. Charges were not brought. Do you support body cameras? Do you believe had there been body cameras on those officers, maybe it would be a different story?
I support body cameras, but I support them in the effect of you not being able to turn it off and on. Your job is to protect the community. So if the community sees you doing something wrong, we're gonna pull out our phones to record it. And it's clear in the video what happened. And there's like, you know, a disconnect, I feel, in Staten Island. There was no prosecution, there was nothing. So, you know, I support the body cameras because they have a fear of doing something wrong. Like, you know, let me not do that because I'm going to get penalized for it.
Eric, how do you change what you said? You know, that you were in a housing project, there was urine in the elevator. One of the officers you were with said, look, everybody in this building is disgusting. You said, no, everybody in this building is annoyed that one person urinated. How do you change that?
I think one of the answers is one of the guests you have in the room right now, a great police chief that understands that anytime you have, what we do in America now, my officers stand on corners and wait for something bad to happen and respond. No. That officer should be proactive. Don't let your only encounter with a citizen be when they're calling you because you're telling them, I'm giving you a summons, I'm locking you up, or you did something wrong. We have to be proactive. Officers must stop being afraid of their citizens, and citizens must stop being afraid of their officers. We're in this together.
You know, Mark, what's interesting to me about this discussion is that this is not a discussion about that police need to do less. This is actually a discussion which theoretically should lead to not only better policing, but better solving of crimes, because there is such a problem, as you know, and as we all know, in a lot of communities, of people not approaching police with information, not wanting to talk to police. It makes it all the more difficult to solve.
I think you would agree with me that you and I do not have the same experience with police in our communities that people of color have in their communities.
I got pulled over for speeding about 2 months ago, and I rolled down my window. I said, absolutely, I was speeding. I apologize, officer. You're absolutely right. I was more than happy to pay the ticket. And they were, it was a lovely interaction. The person said, said, no, don't worry about it. You know, just this is a warning. By the way, I appreciate that, and I'm not like the officer's watching. Thank you very much.
I will guarantee you that happens not at all in most communities.
That's
what you were talking about.
If the audience in the town hall, we must hold on to. The officers come into police departments and they want to save lives. They want to do the right thing. They go through the police academy training and then they hit the streets where you have the senior officers. And we are policing people differently based on the small number of people that are destroying communities. And the residents of that community, they want the drug dealer off the corner. They want the pedophile caught. They want the robber caught. But we're looking at that one officer because many of our police officers come from communities outside the communities. They're bombarded with stereotypes on TV on what all black people are like. All black people don't eat fried chicken and watermelon on Sunday morning. You can't police everyone based on your stereotype.
What are the other things that they do, which makes absolutely no sense whatsoever?
And I can tell you, as the daughter of an African-American man, as the wife of a man of color, my husband and my father have never had the driving experiences that you have had. The stories that they tell me is when they're stopped, they are terrified. They get as many tickets as the officer can possibly write. They feel that they may end up in prison. The experience of an African American man with law enforcement is very, very different.
Hey, Sheriff County, this is Sheriff County Cop Watch. I am using any video here under fair use if you have criticism, reporting, teaching, etc. And please donate. I do not make money from YouTube, and there are different ways to donate in the video links. Thanks.